when we come back.
Have some fun. Join us.
Inravio.com.
Hello again, everybody. We're back. A lot went on this weekend racing-wise. We put an end to it, I guess, with crowning the champions at Phoenix, at the people with the chase, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But the playoff system, NASCAR, did it work? Did it not work? What do you think?
I don't know. You know what? I got to say, they got it in a time when the world is in turmoil, literally. Right. They got it done.
Yeah.
They crowned the champion. They put some entertainment out there for the racers. They took care of the sponsors. I mean, there's a lot going on there. I think they came through. They did what they had to do. Is anything a perfect system? I don't think anything is.
No, I don't think so either. And I did notice, and we'll talk about that in a little while. But I did notice, and I watched the Cup race in its entirety. The top four in the playoffs that were into the playoffs, those top four guys were in the top five most of the day, except for when they pitted and whatnot. So when you look at that, where was the cameramen? Where were they focused? The top four, top five. They weren't looking at any other part of the race.
Well, that was the place to look. I mean, you got the final. That's a big race right there. So that's it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they were focused on that for sure.
I'm sure. I don't know. I just, it's kind of funny,
Is it bothering you? What do you think? What do you think the end all and be all is there?
I think they get 38, 39 cars running. Show them all.
Well,
there's got to be action back in the middle of the pack.
They showed them a little bit, but for the most part, they wanted to show you got Jimmie Johnson's last ride, all of that. So I mean, there was a lot to cover there.
Yeah.
I'm sure they had priorities. They were calling the race. Give me this camera, give me that camera, But what are you going to do?
Kind of like what we do.
Kind of like what we do here,
Camera 1, camera 2, camera 3. But it like I said, I watched the race and it was interesting. It was a good show, minimal on the cautions. They didn't tear stuff up. But it was almost like, and I'll tell you what, I wished I could have been at the drivers' meeting when the series director was talking. It says, okay, drivers, we have 4 guys going for a championship. Don't touch them. Don't bump into them. Don't be the guy that changes history, because someday it might be you in that spot.
That's what they say at the short tracks. I mean,
unbelievable.
So as soon as the guy comes, they all dive down to the inside to get out of the way, right?
I'll tell you, you're not that far from wrong. At least when the guys that were, get ready to go a lap down, they would normally fight like heck to stay in that lead lap. But it was like they saw the leaders.
You don't want to be the guy.
The spot is like.
You don't want to be the guy coming down the ski slope and going over that house on Wide World of Sports. You know what I mean?
The agony of defeat type of thing,
Exactly. You don't want to be that guy.
But I can hear the spotters now. Okay, got the 11 outside, on your quarter, at your door. Wheel to wheel. Clear.
Inside.
Oh, my God. But, anyway, all 3 series were there, and the champions are crowned. We're going to go with the Gander Outdoor Series first with those results. And that was a good run for those truck guys as well. We had Sheldon Creed was the winner there. That was a good run for him. Zane Smith was second. Chandler Smith was third. Christian X was fourth. Raphael Lessard was fifth. Stewie Friesen was sixth. Ben Rhodes seventh. Tyler Ankrum eighth. Todd Gillian ninth. And Brett Moffitt rounding out the top 10. And what we have here is the Xfinity Series. The Xfinity Series Austin Cindric was the winner there, followed by Noah Gragson. Brandon Jones was third. Michael Annett fourth. Justin Allgaier fifth. Harrison Burton sixth. Ross Chastain seventh. Justin Haley eighth. Chase Briscoe was ninth. And Jeremy Clements rounding out the top 10. In the Cup Series, again, we started talking about it. There he is, your 2020 champion, Chase Elliott, followed by Brad Keselowski. Joe Logano was third, and Denny Hamlin fourth. They were, by the way, the 4 playoff finalists, and they finished 1, 2, 3, 4. Jimmie Johnson, in his last full-time run in the Cup Series, finished fifth. Ryan Blaney sixth. Kevin Harvick seventh. Matt DiBenedetto eighth. William Byron ninth, and Martin Truex Jr. rounding out the top 10. And
as they say, the fire siren at the firehouse in Dawsonville was going that day, right?
It was going.
I mean, that's
it is.
that's a big deal. He's the whole family came from there, right? Pretty much.
I
mean, Bill came from there.
Awesome Bill from Dawsonville.
Awesome Bill from Dawsonville, exactly.
Chase has been going to the races since, I believe, before he was born.
While he was being, being cooked.
So it was just a nice thing, and I'll tell you what, those close to me know I get this an emotional thing sometimes when I see this father-son stuff, and to watch Bill Elliott, and I got to tell you, Bill Elliott is a very proud and humble man. He didn't. I know if my kid just won the Cup championship, I'd be pushing people out of the way to give him a hug and stuff. But Bill Elliott sat in the background.
Just waited.
And then, Chase was about to do an interview, and he turned around and he saw Bill now with the mask on. I don't know if Bill said, "Hey kid," or "Hey Jay," but he turned around and he literally ran to his father and they embraced. We have a picture of that we're going to show him, but.
That is kind of what it's all about, really.
Look at that.
I mean, that's
that's $1 million, that picture.
Absolutely.
That's $1 million shot.
That's a good shot.
When you look at that, no father could be any more proud.
Any more proud, especially, that father. I mean, come on, it's how do you beat that?
It's incredible. And when I saw that, I said, that tells it all. And then
I think the best part about the whole thing might not be winning the championship or walking away with the trophy. I think that might have been the best thing for Chase.
And here we go. We got
with father, and that's with Jimmie. Yeah.
Out with the old, in with the new. Jimmie Johnson, 7-time champion in the Cup Series.
What do you mean out with the old? How old is he?
He's in his 40s.
No, the old guy.
In his 40s.
What do you mean old?
I have a kid that age myself.
That's what I'm saying. Out with the old. Come on, easy there, kid.
but when you see that, and I'm going to tell a little story of Jimmie Johnson. Jimmie Johnson was his last race, but here we go. Chase Elliott is the champion. He's doing his donuts. Jimmie Johnson just drove over to the corner where his fans, are, did his little wave. There was no burnout. There was no going nuts and no big fanfare. Because as Jimmie Johnson said, it was the winner's moment and the champion's moment, and it was his moment. It was Chase's moment. It wasn't my moment. I had my moments. And when I heard him say that, I was like, I got a lot of respect for this guy. I mean, I always did as a driver.
Really, I mean, it's,
man. But,
it wouldn't have been right for him to take that.
You're right. It just wouldn't have been.
Would not have been right. I mean, really, because it's your last time? All right, good for you.
He did the right thing.
He did absolutely the right thing.
And he did. And I tell you what, like I said, I'm very...
A little more respect for him than you had before?
Yeah. Well, I always had some. The guy's a class act.
That's very true. They're all good people. I mean, really, there's no doubt that there's the whole crew. I mean, they're the drivers they're picking.
Yeah.
And when I say picking, there's a lot to it. It's not just let's get somebody who can drive the wheels off of this thing and can't talk.
Oh yeah.
It's a package. You got to be personable. You've got to be with the fans. It's a package.
Yeah.
And likewise with even the short track racers, we talk about this all the time, making yourself marketable and having a package,
Oh yeah, but we have a bunch of other pictures there that from this event, and I'll tell you what, you look at the pictures, you'll see, most of you watching our show are racers. You're into this, the emotions, the highs and the lows.
We're preaching to the choir. You guys know what we're talking about.
Exactly, but you know, when you look back and then there's Rick Hendrick, the owner, with Chase and his crew chief right there, and boom, there's that trophy. Look at that trophy, man. I wouldn't even know how to get it home.
They got trucks for that.
I guess so.
They can put that in a hauler.
You know, and I'll tell you what, you know, there's 4 guys that had a shot at that trophy, and back in my NASCAR officiating days, whoever had a shot at the championship on that last race, I had their nameplates in my pocket, so that, okay, it's, you know, Darko's Paisano, he's the champion. Okay, and I go in my pocket and I get the right
pull
one.
the tape off and stick it on. Well, that's true. That's what it is.
But and here we got, you know, there's Jimmie Johnson and Chase talking prior to the event, and you know, you got to wonder, what are they talking? What are they saying to each other? I wish that we.
Hey man, did you try the hot dogs over there at that vendor?
Yeah, the little ones, and 2 little legs and eyes and little hands. But it's and then, you know, like I said earlier, Chase Elliott, he's been going to the races before he was born, and Dale Earnhardt, the late Dale Earnhardt Sr. There we go. Who would have thought rough and tough Dale Earnhardt Sr. is going to be holding an infant? Who would have thought? Who would have thought that that's happening? And you look at that picture, and Chase still looks the same. He's just bigger. You know, he has the same look, but you know, Dale Earnhardt, very close. He was very close to Bill Elliott. They were tough.
I'm going out on a limb here, but you put a hat on him and a long coat, he looks like Tom Thumb.
Yeah.
But he's a cute kid. I mean, he looks like he's you know, like he's, you know,
Yeah.
one of those figurines you buy in the store and put it up there.
Oh yeah. A little like a geisha guy. You know?
Geisha, I don't know what a geisha guy is. I mean,
Well, it's like a geisha girl, but it's a boy version.
oh, okay.
You know, they look the same. But yeah, anyway.
Well, anyway, while we're on the subject, one thing we want to say, because we said this last week too, and you know, we're limited with the amount of interviews we can do, but we have free interviews talking about promoting yourself and putting yourself out there, and you know, drivers and being the whole package, right?
Yeah.
So we have free interviews that we're giving for drivers and team owners and crew members. If you get the you know, team's blessing, right? You get a free 10-minute interview right here live on the 505 on Racing Show by Zoom. So you don't have to come into the studio. You can be anywhere in the country, because I mean, we have a listening audience. You know, 54% are in New York, but the rest are all over the country. This is a great way to get more exposure for you, your race team, and your sponsors. You can tell your sponsors and potential sponsors that your interview reaches over 20,000 people per week.
Yeah.
So we'll even send you a copy of the interview to share with your sponsors and put on social media. So it gives you a lot more credibility if you're trying to get high-dollar sponsors, or even just the regular sponsors that you do get. You're going to be a rock star to them.
Absolutely.
And it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. All you have to do is just message us at the 505 on Racing Show on the Facebook page and mark it free interview. Now, I got to tell you, it's a first-come, first-served basis, because we're only going to be doing this throughout the course of the off-season. So, you know, again, it's only going to be one interview a show.
Yeah.
So get in on it, because the quicker you do that, the quicker you're going to get that copy of the interview that you can show to your sponsors and potential sponsors. That is gold.
Yes.
Because you can show them, hey, this is where you're going to be on the race car right here. But, you know, when you show them, and we can send you the demographics as well, you can see how many people we're hitting every week. That's a big deal.
Yeah, that's a home run.
That's a big deal of sponsors.
Yeah,
and it doesn't cost you anything. It's free.
Right. And we've had past guests on our show over the years, over the 400 plus shows that we've had, that drivers have come in, owners have come in, and they've used this. I see it in their resume, appeared on the 505 on Racing Show.
Absolutely.
And they have pictures, and they can download from social media, and they show their sponsors. So don't miss out. Don't miss out on that. That's a good opportunity.
It is. Yeah. No, it's you know, not only is it you know, it's something on your resume.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, it's a big deal. I mean, not only for people that come on the show, but people that have worked here. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
So
anyway, we're going to take a break, and we come back. We're going to talk about the other father-son champions in the NASCAR Top Series. We'll also talk about who they are, what they did, and share some pictures of that as well, possibly. Anyway, when we come back.
Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY DUDE, your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop, 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
Hey, what's I was going to say what's up for some reason. Hey, we're Set It Up, and you're watching the Inravio TV network.
You keep your car tuned up and well maintained, right? Why? Because preparation and maintenance keeps your investment running perfectly. But are you doing the same for your largest investment, your home? Right now, homeowners can take advantage of a free home energy assessment sponsored by PSEG Long Island. Our experts will check your home for energy waste and help you get utility and state rebates and incentives, making your home healthier, more valuable, and more efficient, saving you money. This limited time offer won't last, so get to greenteamny.com/5off5on and sign up for your free home energy assessment now.
Hi there, this is Buddy from Less Than Jake, and you are listening to Inravio TV. You're probably watching it too.
Hey, welcome back. Welcome back. So,
Yeah, welcome back.
how many times in NASCAR's top series since 1948, how many times do you think there's been a father-son champion duo?
Oh, wow.
Well,
You mean like they didn't,
like the father did it?
they
and-
won it and then
and
the
then
son won
the
it?
son won it. Well, before yesterday, only 2 times.
Really?
Lee Petty, who was a champion in 54, 58, and 1959, and Richard Petty with his first championship in 64, his last one in 79. We all know he had 7 championships. And then Ned and Dale Jarrett. Ned with his championships in 61 and 65, and then Dale Jarrett in 1999. And now we have Bill Elliott and Chase Elliott.
So Davey didn't get it?
Davey, nope.
Davey never
Davey
got it?
didn't get it. And I'm saying, I guess Dale Jr. never won a championship. And I was like, wow, I would have thought he had one. But, looking
Yeah.
back, and I can't remember everything, but looking back, he did not. And now you look at who's running now, there are not any, and I
Possible.
shouldn't say this, there are not any champion contenders running presently whose dads won championships.
Who could do it?
So,
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, maybe down the road, maybe Kurt Busch's kid will have a win, but when you think of, Jeff Gordon, his kids aren't racing,
That's
you
true.
would think at this age they'd be racing. So you look back at the champions of past, and when I say the past, I'm going to say in the last 10, 15 years, their kids aren't racing. And for whatever reason, I'm sure they do their own thing. But when I shocked that, I would have thought there would have been more.
I would have thought there would have been more too.
I would have thought there would have been more, and unfortunately, there are not.
Well, for a championship, yeah. I mean,
for a
I'm sure
championship.
wins, there's probably tons
Oh,
of
wins
them.
is that's a whole
That's a
nother
whole
story. In
nother
fact,
story.
we're going to talk about that next week. Wins, father-son wins, total combined wins by fathers and sons. And, of course, you have the obvious is Richard Petty and Lee Petty. Together, they probably have
Kyle Petty.
almost 260 wins. Throw Kyle Petty in there, but
Right.
you look at that, and You know, it's just amazing that there are not a lot of father-son teams over the years. You know,
Especially
Dale,
being as this is really a father-son family sport. I mean, it's always been that way.
I mean, Dale Jr. and Dale Sr., you know, they have a boatload of wins together. But when you really look at it, the top guys in the win columns, you know, Jimmie Johnson, he's retired now. He has no kid that's going to race and win. You know,
True.
and Jeff Gordon, like I said earlier, you know, some of the guys, you know, Bobby Allison. You know, unfortunately, if Davey wasn't killed in that helicopter crash, who knows what could have happened there?
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it's amazing. It's just amazing that the family sport, as we know it, there aren't more father-son champions. And you know, champions, you know, they when you think about it, when you know, let's say my dad was a racer and he won a championship, you know, what's going to be instilled into me is winning. So I'm going to have the best equipment, the best crews, the best teams, and
Yeah, you would think you're going to have top-notch everything.
yeah, and the name is going to carry with your marketing people. You know, that's, you know, Kyle Petty, one of my favorite drivers, was not nearly as good as his dad, and his own son had more talent than Kyle Petty, and I'm going to go off on a tangent here, and I look back and Kyle Petty was okay. He had good equipment, but he wasn't focused. He was trying to have a music career. He was cutting albums, and he was trying to be in, you know, three places at once.
He was all over the place. Yeah.
He was all over the place, and you know, I guess when your dad's Richard Petty, you just you know walk into the bank. Hi, I'm Kyle Petty, Richard's son.
You
Whatever
take
you
it,
need.
I'm sure there's a little taking it for granted there.
You know, and but you look at that, and man, there's just not a lot of father-sons. There's some brother teams, you know, the Labontes, the Burtons, you know, guys of that nature that, you know, I guess it's like when you have a job at the steel factory, and your brother needs a job. Hey, come work with me, and just like in racing. Hey, you know what?
It's true.
This car isn't competitive anymore, but use it in the lesser series. Work your way up. I mean, that's the Waltrips. There's almost a generation between Michael and Darryl. You know, but you know, Darryl behind the scenes helped his brother out. A lot of people didn't know that. I watched a documentary that talked about that. You know.
But there's even a lot of that, you know, like in the short tracks as well. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot of father and sons and daughters and families, and you know what? They figure once you get the knack of how to do it, and you got all the, you know, this is the setup, this is what works, this is the deal.
Yeah.
You know, you put the kid in the car, and next thing you know, you're winning the Slip 300 first time out. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So yeah,
Exactly.
you know,
And,
that's what
and
happens.
another lesser-known fact with the Jimmie Johnson deal. Jimmie Johnson, and I'm going to talk about him in the next break, but you know, Jeff Gordon was the partner in that car of Rick Hendrick.
Right.
A lot of people didn't know that.
Yeah, I know that.
So you know, Jeff Gordon, even though he got out of the driver's seat and put on a suit and tie and carries a microphone, you know, he's still involved with the sport as a partner, as an owner. Rick
So now the
Hendrick.
hard part is,
You know, so.
you're laughing yourself to the bank with the money, but at the same token, you're like, wait, I didn't get 7. You know what I mean?
And I'll tell you what, you know, a lot of times when it's a driver's last season and he's doing the farewell tour and it's a multi-car team, you know, they don't get the best equipment. They don't get the best car. They don't get the best crew. They don't get the best crew chief and the best spotter. But but Jimmie Johnson was competitive right to the end. And he wasn't one of those guys that waited till he was washed up to get out. Because there's some drivers that did that.
He was close. I mean, he lost Chad Knaus. Things started to go a little south. You know, he had a couple bad years there.
Yeah, you know.
But for the most part, he got out when the getting was good, you know.
He did get out when the getting was good, and I'm telling you what, I mark my words. You heard it here first. He will be in Indy cars next year on a select few shows, probably one being the Indianapolis 500. But I think you'll also see him at select Cup races as well next year.
As a driver?
As a driver, because one of the things he said is that when you have a 36-week race season, which goes over the course of 40 weeks, that's a lot away from the family. And his wife, and he had 2 little kids there.
Yeah.
And here's a guy that's like, you know what? I want to enjoy my children. I want to I want to do other things. I don't want to be committed to 3 to 4 days a week, 36 times a year. And that didn't count the all-star races, the shootouts, the testing sessions, the sponsor stuff. You know, I can remember talking to a driver one time, and I was up in New Hampshire with Joe Gibbs, and I said, you know, when does the next season start for you? And he said, in about 2 weeks. Because there is no off season. They get off for the holidays. They, you know, a couple weeks in December, and then because then they, you know, have some sponsor agreements, then they have the banquet, and then it's, you know, it's Christmas,
to
the
business.
holidays. After New Year's, you're back in the saddle.
You're back to
making it
business
happen.
again.
So
Yeah.
it's a tough sport, and it's a tough business. So
It takes a lot of time. It
It
really
does.
does. And you know what? These guys, it's a labor of love.
it sure
And
is.
these guys, you know, they might get paid to do this in the shop or whatever it is, but,
Yep.
you know, like Tommy Ryan, I can guarantee he's spending extra time on everything he's doing.
Oh,
He's making
yeah.
sure that everything is, all the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed. You know?
And Tommy Ryan was also a fabricator on the Terry Labonte car way
Yeah.
back when he won the championship. So
Yeah, he was responsible for some changes there that made Terry very, very competitive.
yeah, and we're going to talk about that in one of these sessions, or one of these segments coming up. But what we do have to talk about is we got to talk about some personal business here. So go ahead.
Well, one of the things that we, you know, we do here, and I got to tell you, I know that with my bills, my electric bills and whatnot were kind of through the roof. And you notice we got a new sponsor there. So this is coming from the heart, because I've actually called these guys, and I've had them come into my house. The Long Island Green team, you know, these guys came, you know, because I had enough of my electric bills, my high electric bill, my gas bill. If you know your electric bill here on the island in Nassau and Suffolk County, you know it's doubled, sometimes tripled in most places. So I made an appointment with the Green team at a time that worked for me. They didn't say, we'll come between 9 and 3. They said, you know, what works for you? And they came. That's when they came. Scheduled the appointment. They came. It took about 30 minutes. These guys were all over the house. They came from the Green team safely with a mask. They looked at my heat, my AC, my windows, the insulation. They were in the crawl space. They were in the attic. They were everywhere looking for anything that they could do to save me money at little cost. After it was done, they reviewed what he found, and that things can be done with rebates and grants from the government to do most of the work. So it's all to save you money, is what the idea is, every month. I mean, because, you know, it's not going to get any cheaper to live here on the island. And improve the value of a house at the same time, because once you do these improvements to your house, the value is so much greater even if you decide to sell down the road.
Yep.
You know, you get into a bad season, you figure, you know, if I sell the house, I could buy 100 tires, you know.
Exactly.
Right, so
It's
been done before. But I'll tell you, the link is in the chat. I'm sure they're popping it up there. It's now I know they had a problem with the link last week, so if you went there, it might not have worked for you the way it was supposed to work. It's greenteamny.com/5051. This way we get credit for you guys going there. But go there and set up an appointment. Like I say, it's free, no cost to you. And if there's any work to be done, they can tell you, at least tell you what you're wasting your money on.
Oh yeah.
You know, so at least you have an idea, and they'll give you some ideas. Listen, we can get you a rebate for this, we can get you a rebate for that. It's only going to cost you X number, or maybe nothing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever they can do for you, you know?
And I'll tell you what, if I was married and still racing, and it's the off season, the winter's coming, I would call these guys, and I would say to my wife, if I had a wife, I'd say to my wife, listen, let's bring them in. Let's see what we could save. Oh, and you know how sometimes, you know, the wives are a little skeptical when you start doing your race talk, you know? And so this is how I would sell it. How about what we save?
We split.
We split, and I could use it on the race car. And now, of course, she's going to say yes.
I knew he was going to say that.
Because you know they're not going to believe that it's going to happen.
No.
So, and then they come in and they save you a couple of grand over the year. Boom. You know, you have to freshen up at the motor guy. I'm just saying, you know, you got to know how to play the game a little bit. You know what I mean? Because I remember walking through the garage areas, and you see guys sitting on the race car in their hauler, and they got this look on their face.
The look of dread going back to work on Monday because you don't have enough money to pay the bills.
What's the matter? If I don't get a top 3 tonight, they're shutting off my lights on Monday. Now, part of you wants to feel bad for the guy, but the part of you is like, well, you're the idiot that did that. But you know what?
But you know what? It's a lifestyle for these people.
Yeah.
You know, all of us. I mean, we're racers. That's what we do. We race, and sometimes it gets to the point where it's, you know, you're putting more money into it than you really should be doing because, you know, I'm so close. I mean, you know.
Ned Jarrett talks about buying his first Cup car. Says he looked at the car, and he looked at his watch. He looked at the car. Now he knew he was taking the car, and Yurdy, the guy said, I know you could pay me by check. So back in those days, there was no ATMs. The bank wasn't open Friday nights. They weren't open on the weekends. So he gives him a check. That check was as rubber as they come.
Wouldn't clear.
And Ned said, I had to win the race Saturday to cover that check. History has it he did. The check was cleared. He becomes a champion. It's just what we do.
That doesn't happen in my life, but
No.
it's great for him.
I can remember driving for a guy. I'm driving his race car, and we're on the Long Island Expressway. We're cruising along. Now, you know, we lived in Babylon, so we're getting on at 231, let's say, exit, 51. And about exit 65, he says, you have any extra money? Now, we all know there's no such thing as extra money. I was like, what do you need? I don't have any money to get in the pits. And the pit fee at the time was like $25. Now, my deal was I split the payoff. So I said, all right, so tonight's payoff, before we split it, I get that 25 back. Because he's one of those guys, he'll want to pay you off like $2 a week, he owes you money. So he goes, all right. Now, we're there, we unload, we're getting ready, and all of a sudden you hear over the announcements, the speakers, so-and-so report to the back gate. They're looking for my car owner, and he's not going. I says, they need you at the back gate. No, I know what it is. Well, why don't you go?
Because he owes them money.
Are the police here to arrest you that you're hiding? No, my wife's trying to get in. She has no money. Give me another 25. Here you go. Now I get the first 50.
That's because your car owner was living in a race car trailer. Yeah. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Anyway, we're going to take a break, and we come back. We're going to talk about some of the drivers, where they're going in 2021, in some cases why they're going, and that should be, and you'll have some interesting things to hear there. And we're also going to talk about NASCAR drivers, team members, and the salaries that they make and the cost to run a car in different series when we come back.
Hey guys, this is Jibbs from Ocean's 8 Alaska, and you're watching Inravio TV Network.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, Inravio can get your message out there, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is Inravio.com.
Hi, I'm Remington. I'm Emerson.
And I'm Sebastian.
We're Palais Royale, and you're watching Inravio TV.
There we go.
this is Chris and Les Jake, and if Inravio.com spots you at an event wearing this bracelet, they will give you $100.
Hi, this is Mike Jarecki from My Race News, and you're watching the Inravio TV network.
Hey, we're back. We're back. Anyway,
Welcome back to the big show.
in addition to Jimmie Johnson calling it a career, Clint Boyer, 41 years old, driver at Stuart Haas Racing for the last 4 seasons. He has 10 Cup victories in his lifetime. He's going to join NASCAR on Fox for the 2021 season in the booth, joining Mike Joy and NASCAR Hall of Famer Jeff Gordon. Chase Briscoe will replace Boyer at Stuart Haas Racing, so that is good. And of course, we talked about Jimmie Johnson. Jimmie Johnson, he had 20 seasons, 83 wins, and 7 championships. And he only drove for Hendrick Motorsports in his entire career, so that's you don't normally see that. Alex Bowman will drive the iconic number 48 in 2021. Christopher Bell, he will leave the 95 car of Levine Family Racing, and he will go to Joe Gibbs Racing in the 20 car. Kyle Larson, back from his suspension, which was supposed to be a lifetime ban, but NASCAR allows him to come back based on going to certain sensitivity training and whatnot. So Kyle Larson will be in the Hendrick Motorsports number 5. Ross Chastain will stay in the 42 after replacing Larson after his suspension. So that was up in the air, but that's final. Eric Jones will replace Bubba Wallace in the 43 car. And Bubba Wallace will go to the 23 car owned by Cup driver Denny Hamlin, along with NBA great Michael Jordan. So that's just some of them. There's a bunch more, and some haven't been determined. So it'll be interesting to see how that all.
I'm wondering why Denny Hamlin is going off on his own when he had such good success with Roush.
Well, you know, with
I mean, I've always been there a while.
you know, I'll tell you what, and I.
And I know we've got, I know I've got crew guys on Denny Hamlin's
Yeah,
crew.
I mean,
so.
I'm a businessman, and I look at racing as a business, always did. And one of the things that I see now that you didn't see years ago, what do guys do when they're done racing? They have really nothing. That's all they've done. So you become a team owner.
Yeah, but we've been down this road.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, how
some
many,
will do
you know,
good, some won't, but
even that, I think that was the plan with most of these guys. I mean,
Yeah.
Ricky Rudd did that. I mean, you know, as far back as I can remember.
Yeah.
I mean, but, you know, Dale did that. I mean, they
Yep.
all had something. I mean,
Yep.
even Harvick's got something, you know. Kyle's got something. Kyle Busch.
And I gotta,
Michael Waltrip had that work out
I
for
gotta
him.
question the timing of this with all this stuff going on, and I don't want to say politically, but you know, what's going on with certain people and entities that bringing in a Michael Jordan as a car owner.
Well, I think he's the money behind the operation.
He's the money,
so I think,
but how
that's
many
a smart idea.
people in his, and I'll call it his neighborhood, his following, all of a sudden are going to become race car fans because Michael Jordan owns a race car.
It wouldn't be a bad thing.
Wouldn't be a bad thing. So it,
You know, and it's a good conversation to try to have. I mean, you know what?
Now, NASCAR is investigating this whole arrangement because a lot of what's going on with this new team is engines by Joe Gibbs Racing, some technical help from Joe Gibbs Racing, and NASCAR is saying, put the brakes on here, boys. Is this Joe Gibbs Racing, is this their way of getting more practice time, more testing time? Because you're limited to how many cars you could own. So NASCAR's doing a big investigation here, so we're going to see how that pans out, and we'll keep you posted here with that. So it should be interesting, and because the cost to run these cars, and then I took the opportunity to go and look some of this up, talk to some people, and being a race car driver, although now it's vintage racing because I'm in my 60s, so I guess that makes me a vintage racer. But when you look at the cost, and a NASCAR wheel and modified, just to get a roller, for those who don't know what a roller is, that's a race car with no motor, $40,000. Motors, depending on who builds your motor, and if you have a spec motor, a crate motor, or have an engine built, range from $10,000 to $40,000. And if there's a certain engine builder in the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Touring Series that he doesn't let you buy one. I wish I could do that when you come to my business. No, you got to take two. But his theory is, if you take two, I got one on the shelf. If something happens, it blows up, you wreck, the block crack, whatever, you're not missing a race because I got one on the shelf for you already.
Sounds great in purpose, but how many guys have that kind of dough floating around? I've never met an engine builder that asked you to do that.
It is, and I'll tell you, his name's Ron Hutter. And if you have a Hutter motor, you got to buy two. And anybody on the tour, NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour that has Hutter on their hood, has two motors. One in the shop waiting, and one in the car being run. Kind of weird, but anyway, that's how that works. And it cost the average NASCAR Wheel and Modified team owner around $200,000 to be competitive.
To run that car for the season.
Now, there's guys that...
On the tour.
Yeah, there's guys that, and I hate to use the term back marker because the difference between the guy who's on the pole and the guy who's last is usually around a half a second. So they're not really back markers, they're just a little bit slower. So 200 is the average. And I can remember talking to Eric Sanderson after they won the championship in the 16 Flamingo motorsports car. I said to him, Eric, what did it cost you to win this championship? It was about 300. What'd you get? About 100? I said, so you lost almost $250,000 to get that plaque and that trophy?
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, that's what it cost. Now, you want a cup car. You got to have deep pockets, and a lot of them. They go for just under $400,000.
For a competitive car.
For a competitive car.
Ready to go.
Ready to go, and
Ready.
and that's just a roller. Their engines go around 100,000.
That's just the car.
Yep. And to run the season is well over $20 million. To run the season, $20 million.
It's about $1 million a race.
Yeah, pretty much. Now, so I dug a little deeper.
You're talking about $1 million worth of car.
Right.
You're probably talking about $1 million worth of hauler and equipment.
Yep.
Plus you're talking about $1 million worth of race per race.
And you didn't pay your guys yet.
Well, that's why I'm saying it's $1 million per race
So-
because you got to pay your guys. Because how many guys you go to the track with?
A crew member, average salary, they start at about $45,000. Start. Now, once you work your way up, you're in a championship team. I'm sure the guy that's on the crews of Hendrick Motorsports
Are getting 46.
not getting 45, that's for sure. More experienced, and when I say more experienced and more technical guys who are making some of those decisions, they're making up to $150,000. Spotters, think about a spot. The guy that's up top, my cousin Freddie Kraft, he's up on the roof. Now I know what he makes, and I'm not going to share that. It's nobody's business. But spotters, on average, start at $2,500 a race. Now, if they work for Joe Gibbs Racing, I'm only using Joe Gibbs as an example, and they got a truck, an Xfinity car, and a Cup car, it's per race. They got $7,500 that race. All their expenses
So
are
it's
paid.
not per day, it's per race.
It's per race. Yeah. Now, all of the side deals, like when they're off and they go spot for another series or another person, or they come up north and spot for mine, that's a whole different price bracket. Because spotters don't spot for free. Unless they're me and I didn't know better. But when I did some spotting, I got my transportation was out of Joe's pocket. My big fee was out of Joe's pocket. And when it came time to eat,
The
I
hot
went
dogs,
to the
the hot dogs were out of
The
Joe's
hot dogs and the
pocket.
beans were out of my pocket. But when you look at that, these are the costs you don't think about. And now you got to get them there. You got to put them in hotels, and in some cases rent a car.
Yeah.
And you know, and I can remember Freddie when he first started working for Richard Petty Motorsports, sponsored for Bubba Wallace. He said that there was X number of cars at the hotel. Cars are leaving at whatever, 7 o'clock. You're not there. Get the thumb out, call Uber or something, and you just. The car said Richard Petty Motorsports. It's a little car. You get in it. And Freddie goes, so I get in the back seat because you know I'm a newbie. I'm in the third row, and who gets in the passenger seat up front was Richard Petty. He goes, that was pretty like humbling, you know. But now it's just you know they're buds. You know these work together, and you know I don't know where Freddie's going to go or these other spotters and crew people. You know, Freddie's only spotted for Bubba Wallace Truck Series, K&M Pro Series East. You know, Xfinity, ARCA. Anywhere that Bubba's raced, Freddie was a spotter, and then with Cup. So Freddie was not at liberty to say where he was going in 2021 because he was still technically under contract. But we'll be talking to him this week and find out if he's going with Bubba or not. So it should be interesting. But it's just amazing when you look at the cost of racing. And you know, even on the and I don't want to say lower levels, but
that's why they need that sponsorship.
Yeah.
You know, and everything is, you know, as much as race car drivers, the amount of time they spend working on the car.
Right.
I mean, I've always looked at it as a business as well.
Yeah.
And I've been lucky enough that when I have raced, you know, maybe I wasn't the best, but I got pretty much everything paid for. You know, the sponsors paid for everything that I needed.
Yeah.
You know, I was lucky that way. You saw the size of the shop I had
yeah.
over there. I mean, I had a 6,000 square foot shop.
I was in there.
You know, so I was very lucky that I was able to have all of this because I clinched the good deals.
Right.
You know, I made sure that they got their money's worth, however it is. And, you know, again, you know, it's not necessarily just putting their name on the side of the car and being done with it. Because ultimately, you got to get that return on investment coming back.
Yeah.
Because that's how you're going to keep them for the next year.
Absolutely.
You know, and I had some pretty big names, people that they were, you know, other race car drivers at my track were chasing down, trying to get for years. And I would show up with them, and they were like, you know, very upset that I got these guys. And I pretty much got all the big ones.
Yeah.
All the big ones that everybody's been chasing. You know, not only the big ones, but the cool ones that everybody's like, oh, that would be cool. That'd be on my car. So I got a lot of those, and I was lucky that way.
Yeah.
But again, it's because of kind of what we do here, you know, and that's, again, those free interviews, I can't impress upon you enough, man. Take advantage of them. You can't really beat that.
No. You know, and you know, back when my daughter was driving for me, and Brian Cisella drove for me, Terry Stiles drove for me, Randy Johnson drove for me. You know, as you know, I didn't have the traditional sponsors. I didn't have the auto parts store or this guy or the wheel guy or the guy. And we had a corporate sponsor, Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Long Island. And my daughter was mid-pack at best. You know, Brian Cisella drove a good car. Randy Johnson didn't pass the car the whole season that he drove for me. You know, Terry Stiles did okay with me. But a certain group of drivers, I'm not going to say who they are, it doesn't really matter. They went to Big Brothers and Big Sisters. It says, why wouldn't you sponsor us? We win races, we win championships, and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And the representative of Big Brothers and Big Sisters says, you come to my office in dirty work pants, a T-shirt, and grease under your fingernails. That's not what we represent. And even though our current driver is not winning races, she's not battling for wins, but on Sundays, the car is at a spot, at an appearance. She's spotless, she dresses well, and that's what we want. What are you going to, you're not going to come to Big Brothers and says, oh, I want to be a big brother to that kid. And that's what it was all about.
Well, we've always said that, you know, and, you know, race car drivers look at racing as, you know, getting the car set up, I'm putting tires on the car, I'm getting it to the track, and I'm going to win.
Yeah.
Whereas before you can even think about those things, the most important thing you got to think about is, how am I going to make that happen?
Exactly.
And making that happen is to make your sponsors happy.
Yes.
So, your racing, program, if you will, is called a racing program because it's not just you making it to that checkered flag.
No.
It's you putting together packages for your sponsors so that you can have all the facilities and all the money and everything else you need to go ahead now and set that car up.
Yeah.
Because realistically, here's the bottom line. The sponsors don't care if you're winning races.
They don't.
Absolutely do not care if you're winning races. If you're on TV, they don't even care if you're winning races.
Right.
They'd probably rather that you wrecked because you're going to get more airtime because they're going to show that wreck 1,000 times.
Yep.
They're going to show you being scraped off the track and your car being towed off the track, and that's what they're in for.
Yeah.
They want exposure for their, and then they want you to be interviewed, and after the guy took you out and put you in the wall, they want you to be interviewed on TV and you to go, yeah, it was one of those racing deals, I guess it just happened, blah, blah, blah. And that's what they want. They don't want you chasing the guy across the track with a 2x4. They just don't want that.
Real quick, there was a driver in another division here on Long Island, and he messed up. He did some stupid stuff on the racetrack, and giving half a peace sign to
A driver?
Yeah, well, many, but in this case, it was a Big Brothers Big Sisters driver, and because of their involvement with the racetrack, I called the guy up. I was the head guy, and I just wanted to let him know, listen, in lieu of what he did, I have to be consistent. He's got to go bowling for 2 weeks. And the guy says, bowling for 2 weeks? We're done with him. We don't do that. So you kick him out for the year and let him think about that. We're like, whoa. I mean, he still got his 2 weeks, but anyway.
But that's true. I mean, that's what sponsors look for. They're looking for somebody to represent their product or their service, and that's important.
And before we go to
take a quick
break,
break.
The North-South Shootout, the 18th annual North-South Shootout, was held at the Carraway Speedway in North Carolina. And Max McLaughlin was the winner there, followed by Patrick Emmerlin. Augustus Kochuwish was third, and I hope I said that right. Bobby Measner Jr. was fourth. Craig Lutz was fifth. Ronnie Silk sixth. Jeff Foltz seventh. Ronnie Williams eighth. Jason Myers ninth, and followed by Tommy Catalano rounding out the top 10. We're going to take a break, and we come back. We're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming 2021 schedule for the Cup Series and some other race stuff when we come back.
You keep your car tuned up and well maintained, right? Why? Because preparation and maintenance keeps your investment running perfectly. But are you doing the same for your largest investment, your home? Right now, homeowners can take advantage of a free home energy assessment sponsored by PSEG Long Island. Our experts will check your home for energy waste and help you get utility and state rebates and incentives, making your home healthier, more valuable, and more efficient, saving you money. This limited time offer won't last, so get to greenteamny.com/5off5on and sign up for your free home energy assessment now. Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE. Your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop. 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
Hey, I'm Raul Panther.
And I'm Commander B. Hawkins.
And I'm Mark Well. We're some of the proto men. If we see you without this bracelet, you're punching the But if you have this bracelet from Inravio.com, you can win $100.
Put one of these on, or else.
What's up, guys? This is Assuming You Survive, and you're watching Inravio TV Network.
Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to the show. Well, I got to tell you, the one thing that's important is you probably know already that we're sponsored by Village Music Shop. So at the Village Music Shop, you can be safe, you can have fun, and you can play music. Whether live, virtually online, or safely masked and social distance in person, they have music lessons for all ages, styles, and levels from beginner to advanced. Also, they have added classes on the online university for recording technology, music production, and the art of DJing. So Village Music Shop Online University has got you covered. You give them a call at 1-800-HEY-DUDE or message them and get started today. You can take lessons right online. So if you have kids and maybe they're not getting the music in school that they should be, they have all kinds of music lessons, band, orchestra, all of that, guitars, drums, all of that. So yeah, you can get started right online. Don't forget the drums. And you can get started right online there. So you don't have to worry about driving them here. So wherever you are in the country, they can service anything that you want to be taught musically.
Yeah, that's big. Anyway, 2021 schedule is officially out in the top series. And some of the other series, it's tentative, but we're going to tell you what we have. We'll give you the first half of the year so it's not to bore you. We're going to start off in Daytona. February 9th will be the Clash. It's on a Tuesday night. It used to be the Saturday before, this whole weekend before. Now it's on a Tuesday night, followed by the dual qualifying races on the following Thursday, and with the Daytona 500 on Valentine's Day, February 14th. Then they move on to Homestead, Florida from February 21st. The following week, they'll be at Auto Club Speedway in California. March 7th, they'll be in Vegas. 14th, they'll be in Phoenix. A week later, the 21st, they'll be in Atlanta. Then to Bristol, March 28th, I'm sorry. April 10th, they'll be at Martinsville. There's rumor that the NASCAR Wheel and Modified 2 will be there that Thursday night. So obviously, there'll be some stuff there Friday and Saturday as well. April 18th, they'll be at Richmond, Virginia. April 25th, Talladega. May 2nd, they'll be in Kansas. May 9th, Darlington. May 16th, Dover. May 23rd, they'll be on the Texas Road Course. On May 30th, they'll be in Charlotte. June 6th, Sonoma, California. June 13th, they'll be at Texas, the All-Star Open and the All-Star Race. June 20th, they'll be at Nashville, which is a new venue for them. And June 26th and 27th, a Saturday and a Sunday, there'll be a doubleheader at the Pocono Raceway in Pennsylvania. And then the 4th of July, they'll be at Road America in Wisconsin, which is also a first for them. So it's interesting to see that NASCAR is trying to go to different venues and, not take away shows, but you don't need, some of these tracks in the Midwest, these cookie-cutter mile and a half, you don't need 2 events there, in my opinion.
Well, God willing, let's hope they get that in. Barring accidents and everything else that's going on in the world, who knows what that's going to look like.
Yeah. And I thought the NASCAR Wheel and Modified touring schedule will be out. I did not see it. If it's out, forgive me. But we should hope to have that by next week.
Maybe what we should do is set up a little AFX track on the desk here.
Yeah.
And we could, like Mr. Bill, we could mock up our little NASCAR race here and,
I even crashed on those things too.
Oh, yeah. The net that they used to have at the end of the slot car track? That was for me at the end of the straightaway.
Vintage series, nothing out on that is moving forward. Don't know what the 2021 is going to bring the Vintage Series or to bring me, what I'm going to be doing. I could probably stay where I am, or I could go drive somewhere else, or I could even go get my own vehicle and go have some fun. So I don't know what that's going to be. We'll see what 2021 brings. I know the Long Island Vintage Auto Racing Series does not have a home track, so anywhere they go, they're kind of on their own. But there's a lot of Vintage Series racetracks throughout the Northeast and Pennsylvania. So, I did some running with Near, the New England Auto Races Series. I did ACOT. I did some running with them. I had some fun driving with Near. I had a second driving with Near, second of Bethel. And I had some fun. I had some fun in 2020. It was all new to me. And I got to say this, and I hope 22 Figure 8 is watching. I raced a whole season without putting a scratch on the car on the racetrack. A whole season. Not one crash, not one spin out, nothing.
Nothing.
The only damage done
Key word was on the racetrack.
Well, for those of you, and I think we have a couple of seconds left, for those of you who ever went to Bethel, the pit area is a nightmare, and there was a water rut, and the cement thing where they measure your ride heights, my front spoiler hit it and bent underneath. It was fixed by other crew members at the racetrack, and then a new one was put on thanks to John and John Mead at Mead Fabricating. But
and even when you blew the motor, that was in the pits.
it was in the pits. I blew the motor in the pits. So the only physical damage to the race car, and I'm going to say this, was done
In
by
the
my
pits.
car owner, who thought it was easier to fix things with a sledgehammer instead of tin snips. Just saying, but you know, it's his car, he can fix it any way he wants. It doesn't matter to me. But didn't affect anything. But I had some fun this year. And I'll tell you what, I ran Stafford, and it was 20 cars, and some of them were full-blown tour-type modifieds. So I started 8th, finished 10th, and I had a blast. I had a blast. I made some good memories, met some good people, and Bethel has become my home track. They love me. They message me, "Are you coming?" And they wanted me to come a couple weeks ago, and I didn't have a car, and they were going to give me one. But I already had plans to do other things, so that's good. That makes you feel good.
Yeah, it's a long trip up there.
Yeah, and I, you know, sometimes I didn't even have to drive back. You know, I just pretended I was tired, and I can't do this. Stopped at a rest stop. I got to take a nap, and somebody else has to take over. So I was lucky enough to have a person that just said, "Get out of the way," and took over. And that's always good. It's always good to have a good team. Anyway, I think we're wrapping it up here. What do you think? I think. Oh, that was. I saw the eyes.
You saw the hair?
Yeah, the eyes and the hair. You know, there's a smile. So anyway, next week we're going to be talking about some of the stuff going on for 2021. Some of the teams that are, moving on, and the ones that we missed. NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour news, hopefully, about their schedule coming up.
Yep.
I hear there's going to be some big changes there, going against tradition. But hey,
you know, we got to do what we got to do, and you know, we appreciate you for watching the show and spreading the word and sharing and telling other people at race about the show, and you know, maybe inviting them to like the page. If you don't like the 5 Off page on Facebook, please do that. That's a good thing. And don't forget, give the green. If you have a house, give the Green Team New York guys a shot there in the after we're done. Remember the /505 on. It's right there. The link, you can go there. Just sign up. Takes 2 seconds. Just sign up, get a time, get it checked out, and give Village Music Shop a call at 1-800-HEY-DUDE or message them, so you can sign up to some online lessons. It's a great Christmas present. If you've got kids, it's awesome. And if you don't have an instrument, they can take care of you. Even if you're not close by, they can mail it to you. There's plenty of stuff that they can do. You know, you can go to the website and buy one right from there.
And if they don't have the instrument you're looking for, I'm sure they can find it for you.
Absolutely. Give them a call if you don't see what you want on the website, and they'll take care of you.
All right.
That's what they do. Got an 800 number, so it's good.
It's free.
It's free.
Free things.
How can you beat that? All free stuff.
Anyway, folks, thanks for tuning in tonight. We appreciate it. Whatever your travels are going to be this weekend, please be safe. Please be careful. And we'll see everybody next week. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Inravio.com.